Hey everybody, it's Bruce here. Welcome to my channel, Stock Markets with Bruce, and my video today. By the way, thank you all of you who are subscribing to my new channel here and giving my videos thumbs ups, leaving me comments. I really appreciate it. The story today, it's all about Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and Carnival Corp, the three publicly traded companies in the U.S. With respect to probably 65-70% of the entire cruise line business. There was a buy recommendation, an upgrade released today to buy these shares from the folks at Barclays. Barclays Capital came out with a report today saying that they believe the worst is over for the cruise lines and that better days are ahead, and these prices now are attractive and not a bad idea to move in and buy the shares. Let's take a look here. Carnival, for the last 6 months, after they went from 55 down to about $10 a share, they reached the mid-20s here in June. And now in the last week here, you can see them in this $13, $14 range. Barclays has upgraded them from $18 to $31 a share. That would be higher than the June highs. Norwegian, in the meantime, the last 6 months, they went from the 52 range in January down to about the low teens, got to the mid-high 20s. In the last week or so, they've been in this $14, $16 range, or $16.06 right now. Barclays upgrades them from $17 a share to $26 a share. And Royal Caribbean, which has been the best performing stock, was 130 down to the 20s, got to the mid-70s, and has now been upgraded from $50 a share to $68 a share. Today they are up $3.89. Earlier today, $63.86 was the trading area. I disagree. I just don't think that this is the time you want to be buying cruise shares. And I got a number of reasons why, but some of the imagery you're going to see here on this video will help explain why I personally think that the cruise shares right now are overvalued. Keep in mind right now, as I am talking to you, the cruise lines are losing $1 billion a month. These are just the three publicly traded companies I'm talking about. Between them, they have $1 billion a month evaporating from their bank account. And this is one of the images they really don't want you to know about. They have crews on board and will have hundreds of crew people on board doing this while passengers are sleeping. They will be doing this 24/7, constant disinfecting of the cruise ships to try to convince the CDC and other health authorities around the world that it's safe to cruise. They don't want you to see this, but this is going to be a reality. There's going to be some form of testing of all passengers before they get on their cruises. They don't want this happening here ever again, where the world media descends on one cruise ship in one port because people are dying on board the ship or getting infected because they're all being quarantined. This is something cruise lines really want to avoid, and for obvious reasons. It's not good for public relations. And this picture here, this is the last picture cruise lines want you to know about. If you're a potential passenger, masked and screened, hazmat suit wearing health workers on board a regular cruise. But I tell you, folks, this image here says it all. Cruise lines have been throwing in the towel on their old, 30 plus year old cruise ships, 25-year-old cruise ships. They've been giving them up, and they're scrapping them because they just will not be economic again. I can tell you that this kind of a picture here, as dramatic as it is, you're not going to see this happen for a long time ever again in Caribbean ports or elsewhere. You cannot have 6 cruise ships like this in such a tight area with as many as 20,000 passengers getting on and getting off these ships for 6 or 8 hours on a tiny Caribbean island. This overcrowding cannot happen anymore, and these islands are going to restrict the cruise lines from coming in with that many ships because they'll be overwhelmed with cases. Here's another image you're not going to see anymore. This beautiful ship on the Oasis of the Seas, these Oasis class ships from Royal Caribbean, the great show they have at the back of the ship, the pool show. Look at all the people there, 600, 700, 800 at a time. You're restricted now to maybe 200 people at a time. There's no way that's going to be allowed anymore. Here's another image. This is Fort Lauderdale. Count the ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 9 of them. That's how many I see. 9 cruise ships means that 25,000 to 30,000 people got off the ships in the morning, and 25,000 to 30,000 got on the ships in the afternoon. That's 60,000 people of traffic in a very small area of Fort Lauderdale. All the taxis, the bus rides to get there and get off. There's no way these services, these folks who are trying to get us to these ships or get us off of these ships, can keep these vehicles clean enough for us not to pick up germs from somebody else. It's just impossible. There's no way we're going to see this kind of level of cruising in the near future from any U.S. port, and I don't see Caribbean ports allowing 15,000 passengers a day to come on to their islands in a 4 to 6 hour squeeze window. Just not going to happen. But again, the brokerage firms, some of them are bullish on cruise stocks. They think that these shares are undervalued and that they're a good buy right now because they think the worst is over. They think cruising will return. They're not taking into account the fact that there will likely be occupancy restrictions on board cruise ships. There are airlines suffering right now, begging Washington for more corporate handouts. New York's and hotels, the hotels in New York are asking and begging Mayor de Blasio for bailout money. He can't give it. He hasn't got any. Hotels in New York that are not shut down are allowed to open up. They're at 8 to 15% occupancy. The businesses that are allowed to operate are bleeding red ink. This business here, I think a lot of passengers are going to avoid getting on a cruise right now because of fear of catching the virus just to get to these ships, let alone getting home. But folks, the bankers keep saying, yeah, it's great. The shares are down 70% from their highs. What a great time to get in. I don't share the optimism. I think that with these cruise lines having borrowed basically about $10 billion so far, and I think they've rolled over another $5 billion in existing debt. So that's $15 billion in new debt issuances they've made. They're paying 11 to 15% interest on this money. They didn't have to pay these kinds of interest rates last year, but they are now for the next 7 years in some cases. There's no way economically and on any kind of a fundamental basis these cruise lines can make the kind of money they made as early as or as recently as a year ago. I think that these cruise lines are now restricted to maybe half of what they used to make, and for the next year or so, they won't make any money. They'll be lucky in 2021 if they can find a way to break even. I don't know if they will. 2022, if they make a quarter of what they made in 2019, maybe that's what they'll get. That does not justify any of the 3 stocks in this sector to be trading where they are right now. If these guys are going to make a quarter of the money that they made in 2019, the shares are going to be at a quarter of the price that the shares were at in 2019, which means the best that the Carnival and Norwegian can do is about $17.50 a share. Like, that's the top price. And the top price for a Royal Caribbean 2 years from now will be about $32 a share. Royal Caribbean overvalued, and the other 2 share companies are going to have more pain before they have any gain. So I don't know what the excitement is to get in now with this much uncertainty ahead of the cruise lines. Anyway, we'll follow it. We'll stay on top of this. Thanks again for Stock Markets with Bruce supporting my channel, subscribing, give my videos thumbs ups. Love your comments, and we'll keep you posted, everybody. You take care. Bye for now.